Thank you for choosing us. We are back with yet another interesting edition of The Verdict. Your usual host, I'm Patrick Soko, and today we have another interesting topic of discussion, and that is the signing of the Peace Pact ahead of the polls. As we saw yesterday, various political parties turned up to Mulungushi International Conference Center to sign the Peace Accord. We saw major political parties, including the Lurin Patriotic Front, the UPND, and others signing the pact. And my guest on the program today is coming from the Violence Free Election World Youth Organization. He is the president there. His name's Mr. Robert CHANSA. Mr. Robert CHANSA, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. And we want to appreciate to all the viewers out there.
Well, in case you are watching this program for the first time, well, this is a governance program, and this edition is powered by Community TV to ensure that you, our dear viewers, get acquainted with various issues surrounding the electoral process. Now, on this platform, various stakeholders such as council chairpersons, councillors, members of parliament, as well as presidential candidates are featured on this platform to sell their party manifestos. And of course, terms and conditions do apply. But today, this segment is coming your way, courtesy of Community TV, and we want to discuss one of the important milestones that was achieved yesterday, as we saw various political parties signing the Peace Pact. And my guest on the program is actually been advocating for violence-free elections, and I wanted us to have a chat surrounding that. And our dear viewers, you also be given a chance to also be part of the program so that you can also share your views regarding what you think about the Peace Pact that was signed yesterday by various political parties. The number that you'll be using to call us is 0968 on MTN 675273, and on Airtel we are on 0973 167840. Those same numbers are actually scrolling on your screens. You'll be able to participate, to share your contributions about what you think regarding the Peace Accord that was signed by various political parties. Now, Mr. CHANSA, I want to get into our topic of discussion today. What do you make of the Peace Accord that was signed by various political parties? But before you respond, I would request that our director there gives us a clip to just refresh our memories of what actually transpired.
Okay, thank you.
And that's if that clip is actually ready. Is the clip coming?
As Zambia counts down to this year's general election, the need for political leaders to work towards enhancing unity and peaceful coexistence among different political parties is a desire for all well-meaningful Zambians. To maintain the peace that Zambia has enjoyed from its independence, a number of interventions by stakeholders have been put in place. The efforts have therefore brought together strategic organizations whose main goal is to prevent electoral violence that has continued to be witnessed in past elections and recently in some parts of the country. Today, political party leaders turned up at Mulungushi Conference Center to sign the peace pledge organized by the three church mother bodies and the Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue. Speaking at the conference, Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland thanked Zambia's political leaders present to reaffirm their commitment to a peaceful Zambia. And the Patriotic Front, represented by the party Secretary General Davis Mwila, has directed all party members to uphold peace in response to this commitment.
As a party, we have directed all our party members to conduct issue-based campaigns based on our achievements, our ideas, and our policies as spelled out in our party manifesto. As a party, we intend to win the forthcoming elections in a free, fair, and transparent manner, without any form of political violence or insult.
And the United Party for National Development Party President Ms. Hakainde Hichilema has submitted this message of peace and given a recommendation to how it can be actualized.
Compliance to agreements such as what we want to sign today is essential. That is the missing link. That's why we continue signing agreements, because we don't comply to the agreements. Number 5, leadership. Leadership by all key stakeholders is needed now than ever before. Who are these key stakeholders? Political party leaders, church leaders, police, Electoral Commission of Zambia, UN, indeed Commonwealth and other cooperating partners. If we all provide leadership, we love our country, stable country, we shall have a free and fair election. And the winner will take the day. There should be no problem with the loser as long as it's a free and fair election.
And all political leaders present submitted their message of peace and pledged to uphold unity as they conduct their respective political activities.
This is it, please. Ask the police to stand down and respect the electoral process. They must not be used to intimidate political parties. Allow all parties to freely campaign while observing the COVID-19 regulations. Punish erring parties and not imposing blanket restrictions that end up supporting the party in government. Let there be open dialogue among the various leaders of political parties. After all, we only have one Zambia that we should all strive to protect by any means necessary.
Yes, we have a responsibility to keep Zambia peaceful, not only to ourselves, but for others that may seek refuge here. Secondly, it's not possible to grow an economy in an environment where there is strife. We have seen what strife does in other nations and the people thereof. I therefore urge every Zambian to reject violence and opt for peace, regardless of provocation or other situation.
And the spirit of this moment is his prayer which he made, and where he says, I further declare that Zambia shall forever enjoy tranquility and remain a united and peaceful people under the motto, One Zambia, One Nation.
With this kind of commitment, people of Zambia are hopeful that political leaders will continue to preach peace and unity before, during, and after elections.
Those are PS. No, they are not.
Thank you very much.
In a group like we come forward. Don't provoke us.
Alex Shimba, Kamni News, Lusaka.
Interesting outcome there at Mulungushi International Conference Center. Now, Mr. Chancellor, now I'll go back to that question that I posed earlier. What do you make of the peace accord?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. And the first that we want to do as Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization is to recommend all the political parties which were present. We recommend them, and we also want to recommend the church mother bodies for bringing such an opportunity to engage all political players. This platform hasn't just been a platform in which political parties had an opportunity to sign in a peace accord, but it was also an opportunity to engage the political players, to share different opinions, to share their ideologies. And then it is a milestone to implement peace in our country. And as an organization, we just want to appeal that it should not be the last time of engaging political players. Let it be consistent until we vote. Let the political players be engaged each and every time. If the political players can be engaged each and every time, they will have an opportunity to share different ideologies. Thank you.
What, in your own way, sort of commitment is required in order to ensure that political parties uphold this peace pact?
As an organization, we have observed that it is a step to implement peace. But as we have signed the peace accord, we need now to act on the peace accord which we have signed. We need to implement. We need to make sure that we move according to what we have signed. It should not just be a situation where we happen to sign, to agree on certain issues, but when we go outside there, we start preaching about the issues that can lead us again to get back to political violence and enmity between the political players.
In your own understanding, who do you think are the most violent political parties based on various violence incidents that have been recorded in the country?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. As an organization, the organization that has been championing for peaceful elections, we've conducted our research and we've been going around to check over the political violence that was being perpetrated by different political players. As an organization, we came to find out that our two major political parties, the ruling party, the PF, and the major political party, the opposition, the UPND. These are the political parties that have been instigating violence in all different provinces of our country. And we took a step to write to them and to engage some of the leaders, in which we had requested also to be assisted with youths from their various political parties who should be called as peaceful ambassadors, so that every time we normally have a sensitization rally, we call upon them also to take part and to participate to help us. Recently, we had the launch for peaceful elections on 12th August, in which we had invited the PF youths, they came, the UPND youths, they came, the DPP, in which we had also sensitized the public on the dangers of political violence to our country.
Well, while we are still talking about the peace accord, I want also to bring out another aspect that came out of the meeting at Mulungushi, and that was yesterday. We'll play another report that came from our news room, where two political parties actually opted to stay away from signing the peace accord. And let's get what were some of the reasons why they refused to sign the accord. We can play that clip.
The signing of the peace accord in Lusaka did not go without drama, as some political leaders such as the Third Liberation Movement Party sees no reason for signing a peace accord when the real culprits of violence are known. Speaking when he was given a podium to explain what he feels about the signing of a peace accord, Third Liberation Movement Party President Enoch Tonga had this to say.
Mine is clear and very particular. As in the Third Liberation Movement, Muti Mutachabe, Muletu Shabe, you want to hear a message of peace, by dragging us into this activity we are not in. It must be pointed out clearly that Lungu and Hakainde.
And before he could finish his remarks, his mic was turned off and later guided by stakeholders to stick to the real matter of the meeting before being given another chance to speak, where he refused to sign the peace accord.
My message is very clear. I am not going to issue any message of peace to the people of Zambia, because we know who is at fault. PF and UPNB, they must be answered.
And Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, represented by its Vice President Ruben Sambo, equally refused to sign the peace accord, citing pending issues with the ruling Patriotic Front.
We have been, as MMD, on the receiving end of sustained provocation from the Patriotic Front for the longest time. As late as yesterday, our colleagues were busy with their efforts. We are therefore reserved to sign on the dotted lines where they sign, because we think it is hypocritical on their part, and it will certainly be hypocritical on our part. However, we are willing to sign once we get an indication from the Patriotic Front that they'll abandon their provocative ways.
And commenting on the matter shortly after the meeting, Caritas Zambia Executive Director Eugene Kabilika has commended the MMD party for availing themselves at the meeting despite not signing the peace accord.
MMD has been very courageous to come to this peace conference, and they have been very clear in making their mind towards the signing of the pledge. Of course, we would have loved them to sign the pledge, but of course they gave a reason that they still have problems that are unresolved with PF. Yes, in fact, that is what is supposed to happen. People are supposed to iron out the differences, and then after ironing out the differences, then they commit to upholding that which they have ironed out, which is which was supposed to be the case. We had the dialogue before coming to this signing place with other political parties, and so there haven't been much of a problem. So we encourage the MMD, since they committed themselves to sign the pledge after they've ironed those differences, then it will be very good for them to come on board and join the train of non-violence and peace building in the country of Zambia.
With 14 political leaders out of 16 contesting the August general election signing the peace accord, political violence should now be a thing of the past, as political leaders now have a task to tell off their cadres to put their knives and pangas away and focus on the real issue, which is winning the August general elections. Prudence Chota, reporting for Community TV News. Interesting report coming out of Mulungushi there. Sure. Other two political parties, the Third Liberation Movement, failed to sign the peace accord because they cited the PF and the UPND as the main culprits of violence. And we saw the MMD there citing a provocation where we have seen a parallel structure calling itself Operation Save MMD under the Mr. Rafael Nakachinda also endorsing the candidature of President Edgar Lungu, while they are also known as Operation Save MMD. And Sambo there was very categorical to stay unless the PF change their ways. That's when they can sign the peace accord. But what do you make of the decision taken by the two political parties there?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. As Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization, I think we are disappointed that the two political parties did not take part to sign the accord. It is very disappointing in a way where we understand that those leaders, they represent the people. They are not representing themselves. So they were supposed to take part in the signing of the peace accord, because everything starts with planting. You can never just harvest just there and then. That signing the peaceful accord, it is a plant. We are planting a seed in which we are supposed to be watering it now so that it grows and yields fruit, which we can also benefit. And I would love to take ourselves to the Constitution of Zambia on Article 10, Cap D. It states that the state organ, institutions, and all citizens shall work towards the promotion of peace and stability. If we observe on what the leaders of the opposition, the step which they took, it has shown that they haven't moved according to what the Constitution talks about. We expected that they were supposed to put their differences aside and see and take that opportunity to engage themselves in the peace, in the signing of the peace accord, which was there at Mulungushi. Our leaders should also understand that when they are sent to represent the people, they are not going there with their own mind. They should reflect on what the people are talking about and what the people wants them to do. So as an organization, I think with the two political parties, we are very disappointed because they haven't taken part in planting the seed for peace.
But don't you think their reasons are genuine?
When we
Let's say for MMD, they're saying their opponents have been provoking them.
Thank you very much,
and
Mr.
it is
Soko.
a continuous process.
Yes, you know, violence, it has affected all of us. You and me, we understand that we don't engage ourselves into political violence, but we are affected in the sense that it has affected our beloved brothers and sisters. There are people who have been hate. There are people who have lost lives out of that. And just on top, Mr. Soko, we all know that the Constitution demands that it is the responsibility of all of us to come together and work towards the promotion of peace. It is not just the responsibility of the perpetrators. One thing we should understand is that the perpetrators, if they instigate violence, we are all affected. So they were supposed to take part regardless of their different opinion which they have according to the Peace Pact. And if we look at, we check, what was the essence of being part of the meeting? If they knew that they won't be part of it, you see, it doesn't yield fruit. I think as Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization, to us, we are not in support of the step which they had taken.
Okay, interesting. But in your own words, what do you think is a long-lasting solution towards combating political violence? Because people are fatigued and they're tired about listening to the same issues. Peace accords have been there in 2016, 2011. Each and other election that has come, we have seen the church spearheading these peace accords.
Yes,
but what sort of commitment is required to put this issue to rest actually?
Yes, I think what we need to do as a country, Mr. Soko, we need to engage much of our two giant political parties, because they are the ones who have been perpetrators and the instigators of political violence. What we need to do is to make sure that we bring these people on board, that they should understand that elections are just an opportunity to reflect on what we've done to our country. If we are moving forward or if we are not moving forward. If we are moving forward, then elections should pave way for those who are serving to continue peacefully. If we are not moving forward, then elections should pave way for others to come in and deliver to the expectation of the people peacefully. And to the PF, I think they need much sensitization to understand that it is not a crime to change government. It only becomes a crime when you want to change government using unlawful manner. And also, the UPND should be sensitized that it is not a crime to maintain government. It is only a crime when that government is being maintained using unlawful manner. But if it is a lawful manner in which both seeks the mandate from the Zambian people, then well and good, the Constitution allows that. So if they can get to understand that these issues, and they should refrain themselves from antagonizing each other, insulting one another, disrespecting one another. They should come to issue-based campaign. I think that will help us as a country to move forward to the peace accord.
Talking about issue-based campaigns, have we seen enough in terms of political parties committing towards issue-based campaigns so that so that the electorates would be in a position to make a wise decision come August 12?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko, for that question. As Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization, we've done our research and we've come to understand that the political parties haven't yet haven't been engaging much themselves on issue-based campaign. They've engaged much on politics of tribal, politics of insult, politics of hate. I think this is what has lacked. If we can check our two major political parties, especially our two major political parties who are the perpetrators of violence. They haven't engaged much on issue-based campaign in which the people should really understand why they are seeking public office. And we've come to observe also that they've adopted violence as a way to usher them to public office, in which it is against the laws of our land. So if our two major political parties should get to understand these issues, and also we stakeholders, civil society organizations, the police, and also the Electoral Commission, we should see to it that we execute our objectives fairly and according to what the Zambian law enshrines in terms of elections and campaigns.
In case you are just joining us, you are watching the verdict, and today on the program we are discussing the signing of a peace pact ahead of the polls. My guest on the program is Mr. Robert CHANSA, is the president for the Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization. And our dear viewers, you can also participate on the program by dialing the number on MTN, that is 0968-675273, and on Airtel we are on 0973167840. Those numbers will get you through to the station so that you can also contribute to the program. Now, going on with our topic of discussion, I also want to find out what proactive role are you playing as an organization in terms of combating political violence?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. As Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization, we are busy on TV, media stations, radio stations, due to COVID, which has affected all of us. We have reduced in which we were executing our duties, bringing people together, you sensitize them, going march in the communities, talking to people. Due to this outbreak, we've been affected, but we've been engaging all the communities, specifically the youths, that they should not be subjected to be conduits or tools of violence, but they should demand to be used as means for sustainable development, because they are the leaders of this country, and this country belongs to them. So we have been preaching peace, and we've been going around all the different provinces, and we have just taken advantage of the media and the other practical lead that we had taken. It's the launch that we had, in which we had engaged different stakeholders, civil society organization who are having the same objectives, and also the political parties. So we are busy engaging even our leaders, that they should understand that violence brings tribalism, segregation, and hate amongst ourselves, and there can't be development if we are perpetrating violence, we are instigating violence. And I guess that also leaders are coming to understand that there is no leader who can lead a country in a good manner if a country is on civil strife.
And we also understand that there are youths in various categories, and we want to appreciate what sort of youths actually engage themselves in violence. Are those youths who have graduated at WUNZA? Are those youths who have graduated at high school that are engaging in violence? What sort of youths are actually being used as tools for political violence?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. Our investigation, we've come to understand that the majority of the youths that are involved in instigating violence, perpetrating violence, are those that have not attended education, but there is also a slight number of those who have attended education. And when we engage them, we try to find out why they subjecting themselves to be conduits or tools of violence. They've given us answers in which we have taken note that there is no much empowerment, there's high level of unemployment, and this has prompted them now to find anything that can come so that they sustain their life. In as much as we are getting information from them, we are also taking advantage to preach about those empowerment schemes which the government had put in place that they should try. And then we are also robbing from our leaders that they should make sure that they create youth resource training centers in the communities so that those people who have not attended education, they can be uplifted in their talents. We've got a lot of youths who are good in talents such as football, music, comedy. Out of that, we can build the youths who can even contribute to the development of our economy in our country.
Interesting. But we see public facilities being the major resource or reservoir of young people who are used in political violence. But what do you think, what sort of commitment is required to keep that? Because we see marketeers and other people, innocent citizens who patrol those areas being victims of violence. But what sort of commitment is required from political leaders to address that so that marketplaces and public places become safe areas for everyone?
I think, Mr. Soko, the first thing that we have to do as a country, we have to segregate politics out of markets, because markets, they contain different people from different political parties. So if we would engage much of the people who are trading in different markets, wanting them to be affiliated to such and such political party, this is also infusing in confusion because we have tried to find out and to get to do our research that we have seen that a lot of people who are not affiliated to political parties, they are not given space to trade or either to do businesses in such places. So I think it is the responsibility of our leaders to make sure that they take each and every citizen and as their own, as their children. They should not differentiate and segregate that this person belongs to this political party. When it comes to markets, everyone should be accorded a good space to trade and to do his or her business. When we separate politics, I think out of markets, that will be a step to combat political violence. And then two, again, also the empowerment. The empowerment also should come in the mechanism of also creating trainings much for our youths. It should not just be handouts. We should find means in which we can engage the majority of the youths, especially those that have not attended education. We can train them. We can find means and ways in which we can help them up, becoming carpenters, becoming welders, becoming, we need to find a way in which we should plant a skill in these youths, so that in future as we are going, these people, they should find something to sustain their life, so that they won't subject themselves to be tools or conduits of violence.
We have seen some church leaders endorsing political party candidates. Don't you think that is also a recipe for violence? And what role do you think the church should play in this election?
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko, for that good question. Sure, just as we stated last time when we had the show, that the church and our pastors people who should champion peace and bring all of us together. They should not be partisan, because they are leaders of each and every person. If we can we can check in churches. Yeah, we contain different people from different political parties, from different places. So the first step that our clergy should do is not to engage themselves into partisan politics, where we should have bishop for this president and bishop, maybe pastor for this president. Also, that is bringing confusion, because we are taking sides. We have disbanded our responsibility of uniting the country, and then we take side. Also, as an organization, we have seen that there is much reluctance in our traditional leaders who are taking partisan politics. Also, that it is also fusing in confusion, because our traditional leaders, they've got different people. They keep different people from different political parties. So if we can have our leaders, traditional leaders now taking partisan politics, also this is bringing confusion, because we are dividing the country on tribal lane.
Interesting. Well, Mr. CHANSA, I also want to get your aspect regarding what you think the media should, what role you think the media should play in terms of solidifying the peace accord that was signed by various political parties, so that the country should continue to uphold peace based on that signing ceremony that was witnessed at Mulungushi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. The media, they've got a critical role to play, and as an organization, we want to recommend them. They have done a good job, not only uniting our country, but also when it comes to sensitizing the public on the dangers of this outbreak, which has affected the whole world. We have seen that you media stations, you have put in...
Just interrupt you for our caller wants to...
Okay, thank you very much.
You are through to Community TV. Hello, you are through to Community TV.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May we have your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling you from Karika Kingdom. My name is
Mr. Banda.
Okay. I have two questions.
Okay, you can go ahead, sir.
My question is, those organizations that were there on the side of the peace pact, do they have any power or legal to sustain the political party or the country that will be found wanting, or that will be in breach of the peace? If that is not there, then that will work the fact. Because so far, I've only seen the Election Commission of Zambia having that legal to sustain the political party. So that is my question that I want to.
Thank you very much for your contribution, sir. Mr. CHANSA is asking a vital question.
Sure.
Is that a peace code binding in terms of legality? So just your...
Okay, thank you very much for that question. We want to appreciate our caller who has called to inquire. And what we can state as a civil society organization, we are organization which should hold accountable the political parties and also the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We are stakeholders. This is why there is a mandate of having civil societies organizations, so that we offer checks and balances. The powers, the Constitution institute power in the Electoral Commission of Zambia to act because it's an organization which is mandated to conduct elections and to guide the elections. Then as our role as civil society organization, we hold accountable the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We are stakeholders with the ECZ. So our role is to make sure that we offer checks and balances to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the police, to see to it that they act on what the law of Zambia stipulates.
And from our point of view, from the newsroom perspective, according to what is being gathered, is that in terms of legality issues, well, that peace accord is just an initiative by the private sector to bring political parties together and compel them to sign the agreement to ensure that they will uphold peaceful elections on the 12th of, ahead of the 12th August polls. And in terms Mr. Banda is actually accurate when he stated that the ECZ is the only institution mandated for to ensure to take action against erring political parties. That is correct, but that is also being used, the agreement is being used by those stakeholders. Remember, the church has a huge following. Civil society organizations have a following. And those who signed the agreement will be held accountable based on the agreement to say, you've signed to this, yet you are doing the opposite. And that is based on the information that we are getting from the newsroom, from the aspect of legality. That cannot be binding in terms of the people, the initiators of that peace accord taking legal action. No, but it is only ECZ that can legally even suspend. Like in Lusaka, we are witnessing the suspension of our political parties because the ECZ saw that political parties were not conducting peaceful elections and they had to act on that. But that accord is also to the one the civil society organizations will be using to decampaign some political parties who are engaging in violence upon signing the peace accord, because it seems that they will be diverting from their mandate, what they have signed in the peace accord. I think that's what we understand from the perspective of the newsroom in terms of that story. And Mr. Chansa also gave his side on that aspect. Now, going ahead, before you were interrupted, you were responding to a question on the role of the media.
Yes, coming back to the question, to us as civil society organization, we want to recommend the media. The media, they have really done a good job. And what we should do as a country is to make sure that we protect the media, that political interference should not be tolerated. Political interference should not instigated on the media, because you, the media, you are for all the people. You bring, you help us to identify where the problem is. You help us to score success, because without you, the media, I don't think even the government is able to deliver to the pride of the people. So what we have to do is to make sure that all of us stakeholders, we protect the media. Unlike what we had seen the past years and months that have gone, where you find that political cadres infringe the media, beating up the journalists, and also destroying properties of the media. That as a country, we should not tolerate that. And also our appeal, we want to encourage you, the media station, that you should execute your objectives fairly, to engage each and every stakeholder. We have seen where we have witnessed where we have public medias which are not engaging other stakeholders. So this also we have to work upon it, so that we see to it that we try to engage each and every stakeholder who deserve coverage.
Interesting. In case you are just joining us, you are watching The Verdict, and we are discussing the signing of a peace pact ahead of the polls. And my guest is Mr. Robert Chansa, the president for Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization. And you'll be able to participate on the program by dialing the numbers that are scrolling on your screens if you want to get your contributions to the program. Now, proceeding with the program, I just want to also find out how do you think the police has been conducting itself and in the build-up to the August 12 pause. How would you rate their performance in terms of manning the campaign period?
Thank you very much. I think the men and women in uniform, they've tried to do their best, though we had much of political interference in their professionalism. This is what has also affected the deliverance of the objectives of the police. What we have to do as a country and also as the police, our cry and our appeal is that
Let me just interrupt you for a
Thank you.
Hello, you are through to Cabinet TV. Hello, you are through to Cabinet TV. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yes, we are speaking to you from
Ndola. Okay, you can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
All right. Now, I want to ask you, allow me to say
Yes, you can go ahead.
The assurance you still cannot part of Furan. Because now, I'm going to say, I'm going to as the media that because the election like Monaco created the Secretary General of the showing and the zone for church in another side. The assurance that the touching more side. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Chansa is also concerned in terms of the signing of peace accords. Do they really hold water? And it thinks these leaders just sign things for formality.
Thank you very much for the caller who was called in to find out, to inquire over that. I think as an organization, to us, it is a step towards development, because where we don't have a situation where we engage our political players to dialogue, I think we might missing it out. But the step which was taken there at Mulongoshi, it's a step towards development. That's just as I stated earlier on, that let's not degrade what took place. Let's recommend it, because it is high time that the political players should be brought together so that they dialogue, they engage each other. If we continue having such steps in which political parties will be coming together, exchanging ideologies, this will also help us that that when they go out there to stick to issue-based campaign, unlike antagonizing each other, because the platform has offered them an opportunity. So it is also up to our leaders, our political leaders there, to see to it that they walk on the talk of the peace accord. If they go out and start again doing vice versa on what they were signing on, I don't think it will yield fruit. But as an organization, as we recommend such a step, and we are very much sure that we are heading somewhere.
Going forward, would you recommend that citizens vote for a political party that is actually perpetuating violence?
No. This is what we've been championing very much, especially to all our youths in the communities, that they should see to it that they don't choose a leader who instigates violence. They don't choose a leader who brings division, because if they can have a leader who promotes and supports violence, it means that their pride will never be taken seriously. Their plight will never be hate. They will be used just like the way a lot of fellow youths have been used. At the end of the day, they are dumped because they know that one of the fine days they can also instigate violence towards the same leaders that projecting them to instigate violence.
Before our previous caller from Ndola chipped in, we had you were responding to the how the police has been conducting itself during the campaign period. You can proceed on that.
Okay. As an organization, we have seen there are some instances in which we had seen some reluctances to our men and to women in terms of implementing their objectives. We had several political violence which was instigated by different political parties, starting from our ruling party, the PF, and also the UPND, and some incidents in which we had witnessed that other people haven't yet been brought to book. Our wish as an organization would love to encourage the police to make sure that they execute their mandate fairly, and they should also engage all political players fairly. They should come to the head of all political players in terms of giving them the space which is needed for the political parties to execute their campaigns.
We have seen the issue of vandalism also being prominent. Don't you think that's also contributing to incidents of political violence, where we have seen the defacing of political party candidate posters, as well as defacing billboards that have been put by opposing political parties? And how would you want authorities, especially the police, to address such issues? Because we are seeing other areas, others are being prevented from sticking their posters. Others, when they stick their posters, they remove them. But how can we ensure there is a harmony in that regard?
Yes, just as we are from saying that the police, when we look at our constitution, they are the only mandated institution which should make sure that they provide security for all. I think if we can quote from our constitution at Article 311, Cap 1 there, it states that the police are to protect lives and properties, be there to ensure that there is security for all the people. So it further goes down there to state that the police are to create a friendly environment within the members of the society. So if we can offer some checks and balances to the police, we can find some reluctances in acting over this political violence. As an organization, we talked much on and emphasize that all the perpetrators that are toning down posters for each other should be brought to book. And though we checked on, there is only the report that which was so interesting, which we recommended the police. It was in Kasama there, where one youth, say suspected youth from the opposition, toned down the presidential poster, and then he was brought under the authority, and he was sentenced to 3 years of imprisonment. This is what we have been calling upon, that it should also be extended to those who are toning down posters who are coming from the PF and other political parties, that they should make sure that all perpetrators are brought to book regardless of their political affiliation. So this can help. This is political violence also, sure to remove and tone down posters.
But we've seen the signing of the peace accord and other calls on violence-free elections continue to pour in ahead of the August 12 general elections. Now, is Zambia ready to hold free and fair elections come August 12?
Yes, if we can look at the Zambian people. I can tell you, Mr. Soko, the Zambian people and specifically the youths are geared to participate in these general elections. There is that much anxiety amongst the people wanting to participate, and it is now a challenge to political leaders and also to us stakeholders, the civil society organization, the police, the Electoral Commission, to see to it that we execute our mandates, our objectives fairly, engaging each other, where we'll be seen to take sides. This is what also leads to other people reacting in a manner which is against the law. So if it is a challenge, it is a wake-up call for the Electoral Commission of Zambia to see to it that they engage all political players fairly in executing their duties, and also it is also a wake-up call to our institution, the mandatory institution, the police, to see to it that they engage all political players fairly. If we can have institution engaging all political players fairly, I don't think we'll have a reason to finger point to one another.
We've also seen the banning of elections in Lusaka, and the other stakeholders have been of the view that it's about time the ECZ lifts this suspension, because political parties are claiming that it is becoming difficult for them to hold their political gatherings because they are no longer campaigning, and they're also citing unfair implementation of the enforcement of the Public Order Act and other regulations, especially those in the opposition. Do you think the ECZ has to ease the restrictions?
Thank you very much. To us as an organization, yes, we would love to see where the Electoral Commission of Zambia, this is what we've been calling upon, that all stakeholders should be engaged. Then on the bans, is it the ban for campaigns or elections? It was campaigns, right?
Campaigns,
yes. That ban, we had welcomed the step which the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Do you think these political parties have repented?
We are yet to see the fruits, but they have shown that interest to work towards it, though we haven't yet yield fruit out of their commitment. So I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia, it's high time when they should try them again to at least to ease up the suspension, so that people are not differentiated to hear the manifestos, what these political parties will come and do for them. There are a lot of cries of, yes, especially to the opposition, that they are not given that much opportunity. So I think as an organization, all we would love to see is to see that the Electoral Commission of Zambia engages also all the political players fairly.
Interesting. As we come to the end of our discussion, Mr. CHANSA, what would be your word of advice to these political parties that have signed the peace accord going forward?
As Violence-Free Election World Youth Organization, we want to see our political parties, our political leaders moving on the talk of their signing. They should make sure that they implement on the objectives which they signed upon, rather than just going there and then outside the box they start doing something else which is against their signing of the peace accord. So we would love to see them moving towards the step which they've taken, and we would love to see that they refrain from antagonizing each other. They refrain from the campaigns of tribal remarks, hate speeches, and insulting one another. This is what also is fusing in confusion, because if we can have our leaders taking such steps, this is what prompts us, the youths, to see as if your fellow opponent is an enemy. This is why we end up, as the youths now, to put it into physical action, instigating the violence. So it has to start with our political leaders, and we want to appeal to them that they should not subject our fellow youths as conduits or tools of violence, but they should engage them as means for sustainable development. To our youths out there, they should understand that this country belongs to them. We have to work today in order to protect tomorrow. We have to work today so that we preserve tomorrow. This is our country, and we are the leaders, not only for tomorrow, but also for today, because we have to start working today. So they should refuse to be used as tools or weapons of violence.
Well, would like to thank you, Mr. CHANSA, for finding time to be part of the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soko. Thank you very much to CAMNET TV. It has been always there to offer us an opportunity to participate in the national issues. We appreciate, and we are calling upon each and every person that we should protect the media, we should protect our journalists so that we score success. Thank you very much.
Well, our dear viewers, we've come to the end of our discussion today. We've been talking about the signing of the Peace Pact ahead of the polls by various political parties. On Wednesday, we saw the two leading political parties, being the UPND and the PF, also taking lead to be part of that peace accord. And we'll monitor that and check to ensure that they uphold what they have signed to as a media house. We'll be following up and writing stories relevant to that subject. Our dear viewers, unfortunately, it is that time when we have to say goodbye, but we are going to be back on your screens with another interesting edition of The Verdict on a Friday. And make sure you stay tuned to CAMNET TV for our main news at 19:30. This has been Patrick Soko. Stay tuned. Remember, CAMNET TV is not just another channel.